Yo, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite. We're back with another video, guys. And today, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, we're going through the last 5 MVPs of the competitive Call of Duty season, and we're going to talk about how that team would fare in Modern Warfare. I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's a pretty interesting conversation, and I'm excited to go through it today. As you guys can see back here, by the way, we got a little bit of a new background, finally getting the bed out of here. I've been really enjoying it, so I hope you guys do as well. With that said, let's get right into the video. Let's go. So obviously, when you think back to Black Ops 4, there were some really good MVPs, some players that were really dominant. Generally, if you win the MVP, you're a pretty dominant player, and that was definitely the case in Black Ops 4. Obviously, a lot has changed in the past few months between Black Ops 4 and Modern Warfare when it comes to the Call of Duty League, and every single roster has changed a ton, which is why I think this conversation is really interesting, because basically, at the end of the day, these rosters could have quote-unquote happened if they wanted it to, and I think it's a pretty cool discussion. And obviously, since this year we're probably not going to be having as many MVPs, we might not even have like an MVP like of certain tournaments, and maybe they'll do like an award show at the end of the year or something. But at this point, we don't know if there's going to be any MVP awards this year, so this might be the last time that we get a chance to actually do this conversation. So I thought, why not talk about it now going into Modern Warfare. Okay, this is what we've been waiting for, the last 5 MVPs. First of all, if you guys remember back, there's this thing called COD Champs, and this team named United won, and this little short dude named Simp won the MVP.
The Astro Gaming MVP, Simp!
He played fantastic at the event, played fantastic since he joined United, officially became a pro, and obviously Simp is a dominant player. He's going to be a great start to this MVP roster. So again, if you guys remember, the tournament before Champs was playoffs in Miami, but Simp also won that MVP. So we're going to skip up on that one, unless you want 2 Simps, which would be a pretty dominant team, obviously. The tournament before that was Anaheim, and 100T came out on top with their juiced up roster, and finishing off a 2-peat, actually, and the MVP of that tournament was Slasher.
All right, well, it is now time to announce the Astro Gaming MVP is Slasher.
Another great player to pair with Simp. Our roster's already looking stacked, all right? And we're not even halfway through. Oh my goodness. Let's go, baby. But obviously, Slasher brings a lot to the table. He's a great AR to pair with Simp, who runs a submachine gun. He runs the sniper once in a while. That's a really nice pairing and really talented pairing to start off our team. So stepping back another tournament, again, 100 Thieves won this event. It was CWL London. It was an awesome event, by the way. The fans were incredible. At the end of the day, Octane took home the MVP for 100 Thieves.
On behalf of Astro Gaming, I'd like to present the Astro Gaming MVP to Octane!
Another incredible player, debatably the best player of Black Ops 4 last year, definitely the best ICR of last year, and we all know he'll be a fantastic player in Modern Warfare as well. He's a pretty early MVP favorite for a lot of people. My goodness, man, a trio of Octane, Slasher, and Simp. Our MVP roster is looking pretty good already. So our next MVP comes from CWL Fort Worth, and this was a really weird event, but at the end of the day, LG took it home. The dynamic duo Formal and Gunless, one of them had to win it, and Gunless took home the MVP kind of before it all broke down for LG last year.
I would like to present the Astro Gaming MVP to Gunless!
We are adding Gunless to the Octane Slasher Simp roster. Like, bruh, this team is disgusting. When Gunless is feeling it and Gunless is ready to go, he's one of the best players in the game. And we still have another player to add to this list. So, remember back to the first event of Black Ops 4, CWL Vegas. And who other than the OpTic Gaming walked away with the championship, and their young phenom himself, Dashy, won the MVP.
Who do you think's the MVP? Ladies and gentlemen, you're right. The Astro Gaming MVP, Dashy.
So that rounds out our team of 5, which is Dashy, Gunless, Octane, Slasher, and Simp. We're in pretty good shape. This is disgusting. This team is real nice. Now we have to look at it from a Modern Warfare perspective and what we know so far about these players heading into Modern Warfare. On paper, coming off of Black Ops 4, these 5 guys would be an insane team, and they actually work pretty well together. I mean, if you have Gunless and Simp run SMGs, you can have Slasher, Octane, and Dashy run ARs, and they could definitely work for a squad. You got all those M4s on the map, and you're running 2 MP5s in a Modern Warfare. It's going to look pretty good and work out pretty well for a team, I think, and this team will definitely stack up pretty well against the rest of the competition. So when comparing this roster to other rosters, I think it's only fair that we just say like a clone or an exact talent equivalent replaces them on the roster that they're currently on. So like, for example, Dashy's leaving OpTic Gaming to join this team, then a player to the equivalent of Dashy's talent is joining OpTic Gaming, just to make the debate a little bit more interesting, you know? So, or you could just look at it as if Dashy's still on OpTic Gaming, but would this team be better? I mean, that's how you could look at it as well. Like, let's just compare this roster to a roster like Dallas Empire, where you got Clayster, Shotzi, Hook, Illy, Crimsix, so many great players. When you're comparing that to Simp, Gunless, Octane, Slasher, and Dashy, it's tough to match up with that on paper. There's definitely some X factors with this roster when it comes to maybe some chemistry and how that might work with leadership roles on the team as a whole. But I think Slasher and Gunless would kind of take the lead in that aspect. And then Simp and Dashy can kind of chill, play their own. Octane knows what he's doing. On paper, this team's pretty disgusting. This team could very well dominate. We have some background here, like Gunless and Slasher teamed on Rise in World War II, and then obviously Slasher and Octane teamed during Black Ops 4 on 100 Thieves. So you got some links there. And then Gunless and Octane actually teamed during a World War II like Canada showcase event. So we've got those 3 links. And then of course you've got Dashy and Slasher teaming right now on OpTic. So we do have a lot of connections here, which is really interesting, and this roster kind of works. 4 of them have had some history together. Simp's the X factor, but Simp, come on, he can play with anyone. The dude's so chill, laid back, and he's really, really good. This team would be a dominant force in Modern Warfare at this point. Again, Slasher and Dashy have had their struggles so far on OpTic. That might just be more of a team problem than an individual problem, and this team would probably get this game figured out pretty quick. And as the season gets rolling, they would be really, really, really good. So one thing that I think would be really fun to see is how they would play in S&D and who would actually snipe in search. Would it be Dashy? Would it be Simp? Who knows? It'd be a really, really fun combo to see eventually, to see who ends up, how they pull out those snipers and how they make them work. And this team, I think, would be really, really good in both game modes. I mean, they have the balance of Simp brings the really S&D prowess, but at the same time, a really great player in Respawn. And you got so many Respawn dominant players on this team. I think they'd probably be better in Respawn than they would be in Search, but overall, I think they'd be a really, really great team as a whole, and man, they would be really, really hard to beat. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, like, comment, favorite, subscribe. As always, I really appreciate you guys supporting, watching the video till the end. I truly, truly do appreciate that. So again, I hope you guys like the new background, and we can even change the colors for different videos. So again, as always, guys, I'm your boy SalvationsElite. We'll see you next time, and I'm out.